che Caterina è appena.
Second day of presentation of the MFF that was adopted yesterday by the college. Today we have the pleasure to have with us Commissioner Šuica. Let me remind you that we... should I start again? Yeah, well, good. So good morning, everyone, and welcome to this press room for the second day of our MFF press conferences and technical briefings. So today we have the pleasure to have with us Commissioner Šuica, Commissioner Síkela, and Commissioner Kos. They will present to you the Global Europe instrument of the MFF. Let me remind you that we have a technical briefing on the same instrument today at 2 p.m., so there will also be opportunities to ask technical questions later today. And without further ado, we'll start with Commissioner Síkela.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We have entered an era of growing geopolitical challenges, from climate-driven instability and global migration pressures to rising competition over critical raw materials, global influence and market access. But to Europe, as a reliable and trustworthy partner, the current situation also brings new opportunities. Opportunities to build strategic partnerships, to open new markets for European companies. This is why Europe needs a stronger and more agile external action. If we want to shape our environment, we must equip ourselves with the right tools to act strategically and with impact. The new Global Europe instrument, approved yesterday, is one of the key pillars of the future multi-annual financial framework, and it gives us the capacity. It is built around four core objectives. Simplification is the first. We merge multiple instruments into one to reduce fragmentation and make EU financing more accessible and more efficient. Second, coherence. The fund ensures our external investments are aligned with internal priorities, competitiveness, the green transition, digitalization and irregular migration. Flexibility as a third. We introduce a reserve to respond quickly to geopolitical shocks or seize new opportunities. And impact. It maximizes the strategic impact of our activities and allows us to build strategic partnerships worldwide. The fund is organized into 6 pillars, 5 regional and 1 global, while maintaining a differentiated, tailored approach to each region and policy area. This will allow us to deliver consistent long-term investment alongside targeted responses to crises when needed. Crucially, Global Europe is also the financial backbone of the global gateway. It enables us to strengthen cooperation with European private sector and to mobilize private capital through de-risking, making large transformative investments possible. This is how we create mutually beneficial partnerships that support sustainable human development and deliver tangible benefits for our partners, our citizens, and our businesses. Stronger external action means better outcomes in Europe, and the Global Europe Fund will help us to deliver exactly that. We have allocated more than 200 billion to this instrument, a significant increase compared to the previous MFF. This way, we will remain a reliable and predictable partner, and we can turn this into stronger partnerships that reinforce Europe's global position. Last but not least, let me thank my colleagues, Commissioners Marta Kos and Dubravka Šuica, and their teams for successful cooperation on preparing these important measures. Thank you very much for your attention, and of course in Q&A I'm ready to take your questions.
Good morning to everybody, dear Joseph, dear Marta. Today marks a major milestone in our external action. Under the Global Europe Instrument, I will go in medias res, we have doubled the funding for the MENA region, now reaching 42.5 billion euro. This is a strong financial toolbox with which we will invest in stability, security and prosperity through mutual beneficial partnerships with our southern neighbours in the Middle East, North Africa and the Gulf. We will be able to address our strategic interests in these critical regions more effectively, and we will do it in close cooperation with our partners in the South. But this is not only about funding. Global Europe empowers us to be a player, not just a payer. This is what we are saying all the time. It will also enable us to deliver the new Pact for the Mediterranean, which I will present in October. Let us be clear, investing in the region is investing in our own stability, competitiveness and prosperity. The Mediterranean is not only a region of challenges, but also a region of opportunities. This instrument will apply as of 2028, but it is already clear that the challenges that our partners face will not go away and will, if anything, have an even bigger impact on us in the European Union. We will address the fallout of conflicts and help pave the way to recovery, reconstruction and reform. We will help partners tackle the roots of socio-economic fragility, which lies at the heart of political instability and radicalization. We will also address the green transition challenge by investing in renewable energy generation for the benefit of citizens on both shores of the Mediterranean. We will also enhance investments in security and safe borders to better control human smuggling and illegal migration. But we will also develop legal pathways for migration. We will also support firmly so-called people-to-people exchanges. Concretely, we will build a true Mediterranean university network. We will expand the Erasmus exchanges with our partner countries, and we will step up investments in cultural and sports cooperation. In short, these increased funds will enable us to respond more effectively to an increasingly volatile geopolitical context right at our doorstep. Stability and prosperity of the Mediterranean is directly linked to our own. Their safety is our safety. Their success is our shared success. Their protection of borders is also ours. This is also what our own citizens demand. The new EU budget reflects the voices of citizens, of our citizens. In May this year, 150 randomly selected citizens gathered as part of the European Citizens Panel to discuss the future European budget. Their priorities such as security, defence, economic resilience and democratic values are here reflected. Dear ladies and gentlemen, let me close with a word on demography, which I am also responsible for. Demographic change is the challenge of the century. It affects all sectors, from labour markets and healthcare to territorial cohesion and social services. A shrinking population risks deepening regional disparities. It is a pressing issue. This is why we have for the first time explicitly listed addressing demographic challenges as objectives in the national and regional partnership plans. This will give Member States the opportunity to use European funds to invest in skills, to attract talent, to support vulnerable age groups and to boost productivity, and also to invest in healthy longevity, to address shortages on our labour market. So today we also answer the call of the European Parliament and Member States by stepping up our action on demography. To conclude, the multi-annual financial framework is an instrument that will make our union stronger internally and on the world stage. This new framework enables us to better protect our interests on a global stage and protect our values in an increasingly complex geopolitical context. Thank you.
This MFF is really good news for the enlargement. Dear journalists, representatives of the media, it shows, namely clearly, that it is a clear political and geostrategical priority for the European Union. Accession talks with Montenegro, Albania, Moldova and Ukraine have never progressed faster, and many of our candidate countries have the ambition to conclude negotiations in the coming years. They are our most reliable partners, and we are supporting them as much as we can. And the new MFF is reflecting this reality. How? I would like to mention 3 points. First, it includes a very significant increase in funding to match the increased speed of candidate countries. In the present MFF, we had 31, still have 31 billion for candidate countries and Eastern neighbourhood. This MFF proposal, the new one, includes 42.6 billion. This is an increase of 37%. Every budget is our policy priorities cast in numbers, and with a bigger budget, we can further step up the pace of reforms and investments, bringing countries closer to EU membership. Second, we have a dedicated 100 billion allocation to support Ukraine's reforms, its reconstruction, modernization, and its path into the EU. This money will help provide Ukraine with financial stability after 2028. Whoever thought European support would weaken over time was wrong. Time is really not on Russia's side. Crucially, funding for Ukraine is kept separate and over and above MFF ceiling. This ensures that the Union can meet Ukraine's exceptional needs without compromising other priorities of the external action. And third, all of this funding for the candidate countries is based on two principles which we are already following now. The first one is merit-based, the second one is conditionality, meaning that the countries are only getting the money if they fulfill certain criteria, mostly engraved in the reform agendas. As I said, some candidates are working towards concluding negotiations during the next MFF or even earlier, and the Commission will work tirelessly to help them achieve this. Once they do, the next step will be negotiate accession treaties that define elements such as the phasing in of structural and agricultural funds, as well as each country's contribution to the EU budget. At that stage, we will need to make sure to provide adequate financing to the new member states. All in all, this MFF proposal is a strong basis to deliver on enlargement. It is also an opening tool, books of global Europe to candidate countries, not only technical assistance, but also support for reforms and investments backed by resources. And it will help us, I'm sure, take the next step towards the final, as I love to say, that enlargement is not just making the EU bigger in the number of square kilometers and in the number of people, but enlargement for me is much more. It is about the unification of Europe. So by stepping up support to all those who are putting in the hard work to meet membership conditions, we are on the way to unify our Europe.
Thank you, dear Commissioners, for the presentation. We'll now move to the questions. Before we start, just a couple of comments from my side. So I will ask you to give your name and the media outlet you work for, and also to whom your question is addressed to. And just also, Commissioner Šuica will have to leave the room a bit earlier, so around 9:30. So we'll ask you to start with the questions for Commissioner Šuica, if you don't mind. So is there any question for Commissioner Šuica in the room? Yeah. please.
Hello, good morning. Teresa Supová from Czech News Agency. I have a question for Commissioner Šuica, maybe also for Commissioner Síkela. You have talked about the mutual beneficial partnerships with third countries. So I would like to know more, what will be the connection between these third countries and the money for them, and preventing illegal migration to Europe? How it will work?
Thank you so much for this question. It already works. We already have partnership agreements with different countries in the region. When I say region, it is North Africa, it is Middle East and Gulf countries. We already have a partnership with many of them, and we are trying to step up our partnerships with all of them. At this moment, we have a partnership with Egypt, with Tunisia, and with Jordan. We are working at the moment on the deepening partnership with Morocco, and we will start also working with Lebanon. Also, Gulf countries are in our plans. So everything will be covered by negotiations, which we do. And what we already have is that it's about not only migration, it's about investments, it's about energy, it's about development, trade, education, as I said, people-to-people contacts, and migration. Of course, migration is a hot issue, and by enhancing funding through this multi-annual financial framework, we will be able to step up our cooperation. Of course, we are monitoring closely what's going on the ground via our delegations. They are our ears and eyes on the ground, but also we are in very close contact with civil society organizations on the ground in order to know better the situation, and this is all in connection. Of course, they have to follow rule of law, fundamental rights, democracy, and we have different mechanisms how we are following this on the ground. And this is connected with conditionality of financing them.
If you allow me, I will then elaborate on the migration a little bit more in detail, but when we finished Dubravka's block, in order to, so I can then start in the second block, to answer your question. Okay.
Yes, thank you. Augustin Palokaj from Youth and Middle East. I have also a question about migration, but this time for Madam Šuica. President von der Leyen yesterday said, if I am not wrong, that the amount for migration issues is tripled. But will this be to manage migration, or most of that money will go to strengthen control of outside borders, so to prevent migrants from coming to Europe?
Thank you, Mr. Palokaj. It's about both. First of all, we want to control, as I already said in my introductory speech, to control migration, but it doesn't mean that Europe is fortress. So, as you know, we need people, and we are talking about legal migration. We are talking about creating legal pathways. As you know, we already have talent partnerships with different countries, with Egypt, Tunisia, and Morocco, because we need also people in order to fill in the labor shortages in the European market. But at the same time, we will fight strongly against illegal migration and against smugglers, as I already said. So the investment will be in helping the countries to keep their borders. When I speak, I'm talking about Mediterranean and, of course, North Africa, but it is connected with Sub-Saharan Africa, which I hope that Jozef will tell you more about that. So it is to help them keep their borders. It is investment in equipment, but it is also investment in capacity building, as you know. At the same time, we need people in Europe because I mentioned demography and demographic challenges and shortages, and this is why we need people from that part of the world. This may be very controversial sometimes, but since we are talking about legal pathways, we are not talking about illegal migration, then this is the way how we can keep Europe also competitive. It's about competitiveness, and everything which we did in our former, last mandate, it was about demography toolbox, when we mentioned 4 pillars, which is about legal migrants. Of course, we have to be politically correct, not to create brain drain in these countries. We cannot take all doctors, all intellectuals, all engineers. We also have to think about them. And this is why we are doing this in a very balanced way, and this is what we call talent partnerships.
We'll move online. We have a question from Mattia Bagnoli.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Sorry. Yes, I have a question for Commissioner Šuica as well, specifically on this topic of demography. Of course, I mean, the instruments touch upon different issues, but the key issues of demography is that we don't make enough babies. So in the end, what is the concrete actions that you can envisage to convince Europeans that maybe we need to have families and have more babies and then keep our population stable? Alongside, obviously, that's why it is on your dossier, the part of attracting talent. So we have to strike a balance here. And perhaps you can also give us some figures about demography. Do you have some studies? Do you know how steep the cliff is going to be in a few years? Thank you.
Thank you so much for this question. As I said, the demography is a pressing issue and this issue of the century. So we don't want to wake up in 10 or 20 years and say that we haven't done anything. This is the very reason why President von der Leyen decided in last mandate to establish portfolio on demography. This time I'm also in charge of demography, Mediterranean and demography, although it's not mentioned in the title of portfolio. You know everything. We are shrinking. Mediterranean area on the southern shores is booming, so we have to put this into balance. You are right. But when you speak about babies, then we have to be clear. Here it's member states' competence. So member states' competence, birth rates, fertility rates is member state competence. What we can do here from the European level, we found, of course, hook in the Treaty of the European Union, and we can do a lot. And member states were not, you know that sometimes people in the member states are angry when we interfere into their into their business, but this is not the case now. Everybody asks us to help them. All the ministers, be it of social affairs, health, everybody asks us to help them. So this time we managed to have in the text of MFF the objective which will be part of the national and regional plans and funding. And this is something where member states can find a hook in order to finance demography. When I say demography, I said it's creating environment for families to thrive. It's about housing. It's about longevity. It's about attracting talent. There is a lot to say here. It's about helping vulnerable groups. And we also have Cohesion Fund. We also have European Regional Development Fund. We have Erasmus Plus. And there is a lot in the European funding to help member states to keep their numbers stable. Of course, I said earlier that we also need legal migration in order to keep Europe competitive. So this is something which I hope in close cooperation with member states and in close monitoring national and regional plans, we will manage to to keep demography, of course, important, and we will. I hope that we will manage to keep figures. I don't have figures at the moment. We did 2 reports on demographic change in last mandate. First one at the beginning in 2020, and the second one after COVID and after Brexit. We saw some numbers, but now we are just about to start working on the third demography report, and we will be able to provide you I hope, in a medium term, in 6-7 months. Thank you so much.
Angie?
Good morning, Angela Skujins from TVP World. A question for Commissioner Kos. You said that talks with Montenegro, Albania, Moldova and Ukraine have never progressed faster. How are accession talks going with Serbia in particular? Thank you.
We are working strongly with Serbia in the fulfilling of the so-called non-paper from last November, where Serbia committed to fulfill some obligations in order to be able to open Cluster 1. It is especially about the media law. 3 media laws have been adopted a few weeks back. We are now working on the new electoral law and on the REM, so-called regulator of the electronic media, and now this is in progress. If they will fulfill this, and there are some other conditions, we could go towards opening Cluster 3, but this will be then only in the autumn time. We're also working hard on the so-called fundamentals chapters 23, 24. It is especially about the rule of law, and we are moving slowly there.
Sorry, just one follow-up. You mentioned rule of law and work is going slowly there. Can you elaborate a little bit what particular aspects of rule of law and why is it going slowly? Thank you.
It goes slowly because there have been protests in Serbia for many months, and the work has practically been stopped. And after the big wave, the protests are still going on after the big wave. And then, of course, after getting the new government, we started to really work on this more closely. On the specific, as I have mentioned, it is especially about anti-corruption, added to what I said before, media law. Very, very much important. Then it is anti-corruption, also public procurement. Serbia started negotiations under the old methodology, so at that time it wasn't Cluster 1 fundamentals, but still, whatever we do, I see it's through the Cluster 1 fundamentals, so working hard on the fundamentals. At the same time, one of the points in the non-paper is also normalization of the relations with Kosovo.
My question to Commissioner Kos, maybe there is a question for another commissioner. You was going to finish earlier with other commissioner.
So, to address the question on migration, perhaps.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Global Europe is an essential component of the external dimension of the EU's migration policy, which aims to promote a comprehensive approach to migration on the basis of the EU Pact on Migration and Asylum. Actions under Global Europe will contribute to the implementation of agreements and dialogues on migration with partners, also via a flexible funding mechanism to encourage cooperation. The objective is to ensure really a constructive engagement to all aspects of migration and forced displacement, working to ensure that migration takes place in a safe and well-regulated manner, and support to forcibly displace people and their host communities. Increased coherence between migration, asylum, return and external policies is important to ensure that the Union's external assistance supports partner countries to manage migration more effectively towards sustainable development. There were questions when it comes to funding, allocation, the granularities. As I mentioned in the opening remarks, we want to have a more flexible, more simple approach with priorities. It means a vertical and horizontal flexibility. So the tool, the Global Europe, propose a comprehensive approach towards migration and forced displacement with specific attention to countries of origin, transit and departure. It will allow to adjust the volume of funds to be allocated or paid to partner countries based on comprehensive assessment of serious shortcomings in the area of migration. And the decisions will be based on a proportional approach, trying to promote dialogue with partners to address any such shortcomings. Thank you.
I see that David Carreta has his hand raised. Is it on this issue, David?
Sorry, I was late. It's on the budget and Ukraine, the proposal of 100 billions, but I don't know if...
Go ahead.
Thank you. Apologies, I'm a little bit late because of live in radio. I'm David Carretta, Radio Radicale. I would like to ask you about the 100 billion put aside for Ukraine. I'm wondering if these 100 billion are inside the budget or the mechanism that you are putting in place or propose. It's basically using the margin to have a macroeconomic, macro-financial program, so a loan of 100 billion to Ukraine. And secondly, how will you close the financial gap for Ukraine that will be in 2026 and 2027. Thank you.
I was speaking about this 100 billion before. I can repeat, this is a dedicated 100 billion, which is about the ceiling. So we will ensure the money for Ukraine on one hand. On the other hand, we will not endanger other priorities. Regarding this year, the financial needs for Ukraine are covered. Since the war is taking longer, we will have to see how to help Ukraine in the next 2 years before the new MFF, meaning 26 and 27. We have already started the talks to Ukraine. Ukraine needs around 80 billion per year for functioning as a state. And the EU will not be enough. That's why we are talking to our partners and being at the recovery conference in Rome. I was heading the ministerial of the donor group, and we have already started to talk inside the donor group together with Canada, Japan, and some other countries, UK, how we could help Ukraine in those intermediate 2 years.
I understand Commissioner Šuica has to leave. Do you have any last question for Commissioner Šuica before she goes? Oh, thank you. Then we'll continue. Vitaly, you had a question.
Thank you. It's not directly connected with the main topic, but this money for Ukraine, they support accession process, and now accession process negotiation is going on, and they connected with negotiation with Moldova, and the authority of Moldova, they want to start to open fundamentals till September. What do you think about this date, and could it mean that the negotiation with Ukraine and Moldova could follow different tracks and could be decoupled? And how negotiation with Ukraine is going on, and what's the position of Hungary now? Thank you.
These are many questions, but I'm happy to answer you this. So first, how they are advancing. It's amazing, especially what Ukraine is performing during the bombs are falling on the country. So we will be able to open all the, from the technical point of view, open all the clusters this year. We are ready to open Cluster 1, and this is both for Moldova and for Ukraine. Also, Moldova is doing the necessary reforms and everything needed to open the clusters very fast. So we will soon have all the screening reports. Some of them are already. 1, 2, and 6 clusters are in the Council. The rest we will provide very soon. Now the question about opening the Cluster 1. As you know, EU member states have decided unanimously, together with Hungary, to give a candidate status and start accession negotiations with Ukraine. 1 year ago, Ukraine has done its homework, so the position of the European Commission is clear. We should, as soon as possible, open Cluster 1 for Ukraine and for Moldova. Regarding decoupling, the next steps are solely in the Council, and I urge the Council to open clusters soon, especially because we say all the time that it is the merit-based principle. And if they deliver, if our candidate countries deliver, we should deliver too.
Thank you, Commissioners. Do we have any other questions in the room? Agustin?
Thank you for giving me floor again. I asked Madam Šuica because you said that she is going to leave, but I have a question for Commissioner Kos on enlargement. Both you and President von der Leyen all the time mention candidate countries. There is one country that applied for membership, but it's not candidate, that's Kosovo. So will Kosovo benefit from all programs, including access to global Europe, even though it formally doesn't have a status of candidate country? Because in some other EU institutions, Kosovo is not part just because formally it's not a candidate, while others are. And also, there is a country that is formally candidate, Turkey. This amount of money for enlargement, is it dedicated to Turkey as well? Thank you.
I'm very happy that actually we have been succeeding. I will go a bit step back to explain that actually we will simplify the instrument in the new MFF. So altogether, when I was speaking before, 42.6 million, it is for enlargement and Eastern Partnership and the rest of Europe. And in the new, with the new MFF, we will merge several existing instruments which have been actually putting into action in different time frames. Like in DIKI Global Europe, then it was IPA 3, then we had Ukraine facility, growth plan for Western Balkan, and growth and plan for Moldova. So now we will put this all together. The new MFF is not dividing the money, or will not. We have to wait what will be the results after 2 years of negotiations, but as we see it now, it is not divided into the countries. Regarding Kosovo, Kosovo is already a part, and it will remain a part of financial support through these instruments. And as you know, Kosovo is already a part of the growth plan and has gotten the pre-financing. Regarding the Turkey, Turkey is not is a candidate country, but we are not doing the accession process because it is at a standstill since 2019. So we will have some other money available, especially on the field of connectivity. In connection with the Black Sea strategy, which adopted 1 month ago. So we will see what we do. Exactly, in principle, pre-accession support is available to all the candidate countries, and with this flexibility in the new MFF, we will be able to modulate the support.
Any other questions? Vitaly.
Thank you for the floor. Just to clarify, to follow up the question of David, maybe I missed some point. What the source of this 100 billion for Ukraine? Could it be the frozen assets of Russia, one of the source which that already used for other program to support Ukraine? Thank you.
When you speak about the new MFF, it is about our money, our European money, and from Europe we have 100. We have allocated 100 billion. The other sources we will have to see. So as the present Ukraine facility based on 3 pillars and especially in the second pillar, we also are enabling the international financial institutions to put money in to get more money from the private investors. So 100 billion is just from the EU. The rest we will have to see. There are some member states who would like to use more money out of the Russian frozen assets, or all the money out of the frozen assets. There are some countries who do not want to see this happening. So this will really be the decision of the member states how to proceed with the frozen Russian assets.
I don't see any other questions online. Do we have any last questions here in the room? No. Then this concludes our press conference. Thank you so much. And there will be a technical briefing again today at 2 p.m. on the same issue.